Hello, this is the Daily Stock Report for July 15th. Just wanted to show you a chart of Freddie Mac, which is an intraday chart for today only. It's a 3-minute chart, and what I'm trying to show you here is the extreme amount of volatility that's still occurring in the market, especially in the financials. Here's Freddie Mac here this morning, Eastern Time at about 10:20, which makes it about 7:20 our time. And normally you see these intraday trades between 1 to 3% change is pretty normal. But here you're seeing again a low of 468, which is the bottom here. And then here's your turn on that moving average buy signal here at about 491. And then goes all the way to the top to 632. And percentage-wise, that's 28% profit potential. Here's you're getting a short signal here. $6, a little over $6, dropping all the way to $5.20, and that's about 17%. This is just really unheard of. This is history in the making to see this kind of volatility day after day that we've seen in the last week, especially with these financials. Let's take a look at Fannie Mae, the other stock that's in the news. Same thing here. Let's look at a buy signal here. Looks like about the same time. $7, $7.14, dropped below 7 a couple times. Went as high as $8.48. $1.50 profit from, let's say, $7 to $8.50 is over 21% in just a few hours. So this is trader's heaven as far as the volatility, and this is really what a trader loves. Normally, I'm not doing a lot of intraday trades. When you see this kind of volatility, you just can't help getting involved with the intraday trades, especially the financials, because it looks like we might have a little more negativity coming in this next week or so. Let's take a look at Bank of America. Stock did the same thing, had a range from 18.50 all the way to 20, back all the way down to 18, a lower low at the close. This is just unbelievable. Let's take a look at a daily chart on this, not the charting I really like to look at. Let's take a look at a different one. This is the stock ICE, ICE, Intercontinental. We talked about this yesterday. I didn't like it until it goes below 85. I think the day before yesterday's report was I wanted a price between 83 and 85. You can see this morning it dropped down there to 82 and a quarter and then came all the way back to $90. Again, folks, this is not a normal process to buy a stock and be up $8 or 7 or 8% for the day. What's really causing this is just the turmoil that we're seeing in the financials. Federal Reserve Chairman Bernanke came on today. President Bush came on. As I wrote in the text report of the Daily Stock Report today, you'll see 2 entries. One's video, which is what you're watching now, and the text I'm explaining in the text report what kind of cross currents that we've had to cause this kind of volatility. Obviously, there's a lot of fear. Like I've said in this last week or so, at the bottom of a market you see a lot of volatility because there's extreme amount of fear as well as buy programs trying to buy, and you see that volatility. Again, like I said last night, that this is definitely a trader's market. The buy and hold strategy is definitely not working in this environment. When you see a buy and hold strategy work, it's when the markets are very stable. It's kind of like the Goldilocks syndrome where everything's just right, the economic numbers are right, the market sentiment is positive, there's no political unrest, there's no extreme sectors that are going in a very negative fashion like we're seeing in the financials as well as the housing. And that's a buy and hold environment. This is not the environment that we have today. Here's the Esler Evergreen Solar stock that we've talked about in the last few days, starting to slowly move up. Let's take a different chart setting here, and you can see that it's been moving up the last 2 or 3 sessions real gradually. But today they showed that they had a $1.2 billion contract, and that really catapulted this stock. I still think that this is a hold for probably a couple more days. The market's been really negative, and this stock has been up with that news. So when the market turns around and starts to stabilize and go in a positive way, any stock that's had a good news will really start to move. Here's the news on Evergreen Solar today. They got a $1.2 billion contract. The stock is up around 11 to 12% at the close. This is the largest contract for this company's history. They are a solar panel manufacturer. I think the stock still would have moved up, not quite as quickly, of course. This is still a hold for probably another day or two. I'm not totally sure about if this is a very good entry point to buy. I would tend to stay on the sideline after it's made a move like this, although I still expect a little further upside to this. This is the daily chart of ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, and you can see that I'm trying to pick off this bottom here, and hopefully we see a rebound somewhere just off the top of my head, maybe 20 points on this, 106 to 110. Just have to play it by ear and see how it acts. I set these targets with the idea that's my first impression. It's not written in stone that we're going to get there. So be flexible and watch the stock, how it acts during that process of the market before it gets there, if it does reach the target price. The main thing on these is that you really want to watch how they act and how they behave, and if they're within the parameters of how a stock should act, and that's going to take you a while to learn how something should be acting. I want to show you a couple biotech stocks. The money that tends to go toward these biotechs when there's really a lot of uncertainty. I can't give you a good explanation fundamentally why that's happening, but that's been the pattern for years and years that I've watched the markets. Here's Genzyme stocks gone from about $66 to $79, and money flows from the stocks that are going down into the stocks that are going up, and it can often turn into a little bit of a small panic buy equally as much as there's been a panic sell in these financial stocks. Let's take a look at another biotech. Here's Amgen. You can see money flowing into it this last 4 or 5 weeks, the same amount of money that's been flowing out of the other sectors like housing and financials especially. Just trying to show you to keep an eye on them. I'm just trying to educate you generally what happens. There's a biotech index which I can't seem to pull up. That'd be interesting to show how that's getting new money. I'm starting to get confirmation that the oil stocks that I have been watching are going to start breaking down. Here's CRK, Comstock Reserves. It's an independent oil and gas exploration. The stock hit a high yesterday of 88. It was on my list this morning. I started seeing it turn down. And let's take a look at a one-day today's chart. Looks like here, right in here, is about 87, closed around 86. Of course, you've probably seen that oil drop today quite substantially. With this stock, I don't expect a large drop like some of these other shorts I've shown you. The logic with this stock, or with these stocks that have been really hot like the oil and gas, is that they're going to drop just for a day or two and then run back up for 2 or 3 days and then do a gradual downtrend. Of course, this is very much driven by the price of oil, which we know is fluctuating quite rapidly. Oil today hit a high of 147. You can see that here, 147.31, and had a low of 136.53. That is, oil is having a little bit of a capitulation where it hit this 147, dropped down almost $11 in the same day. We see that with stocks, we see that with bonds, all kinds of financial investments that have a peak price and then do a sharp correction, and that could be a signal that it's on a downtrend for just a short couple of days. Here's the chart on Mosaic. This is an agricultural chemicals stock. One of the stocks that we've talked about in this group is Mosaic. And you can see that the rebound started here last week at around 118 to about 119, 120, and continued all the way up to a peak there of 146, which is about $26. That's almost a 22% run from this swing trade of 5 to 6 days. And there's the sell signal when it's flattening out and turning down right there. And this group, we'll see how it acts in the next few days to see if there's another opportunity.